Now this video might get a little controversial. Code Geass is absolutely trash. Last week I left you with a choice to pick the next anime that I would review, and I didn't receive any feedback in the comments, but I did on Instagram. Since all of you absolutely riskless dweebs are scared to give your opinion on what show I'm gonna pick next, I'm just gonna give the options for you. Your choices for next week are A Silent Voice, Tower of God, Ranking of Kings, Steins Gate, or Erased. So either comment down below or go to my Instagram page where I'll have a poll set up there for you. Also, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. We just recently hit 100 subscribers, and I made a promise on my TikTok that once I hit 1,000 followers on here that I would watch the entirety of One Piece. For those of you who don't know, this is Skilled Reviews, the channel where I give my completely unbiased opinion on anime and what you should be watching. Just so you know, for this video, there's definitely going to be spoilers. So if you haven't seen Code Geass, I would definitely recommend going watching that first. It is a show that many would say is top 10, S tier, goated, and I'm not contesting any of that.
Huh? That jerky hung up on me! I can't believe—
But there are some definite plot holes and some absolutely atrocious characters in this series. So before I get into what I did like, allow me to just go off for a moment. This girl, Nina Einstein, is one of the most awfully written characters in season 1. Like, even this guy, at least he serves as some form of comedic relief. But not Nina. Plus, her entire mantra of season 2 is to essentially create the near equivalent of nuclear warfare and to try and kill off Lelouch. Dog, Schneizel made a move that's not even allowed in chess first off, and Lelouch didn't do what you wanted, so let's stab him?
Stop it, Nina! Drop the knife!
Garbage. She was boring, annoying, and served absolutely no purpose to the show. Other than being the token gay character, I'd rather see an absolutely useless character than one driven by such absolutely foolish ideology and unpolished emotions. And her last name is Einstein? Give me a break. Secondly, as much as I was anticipating the reveal on some of the lore of CC, V2, and the Emperor, their storyline had absolutely no deeper meaning other than to essentially make the story start from square one for season 2. Also, the Knights of the Round was introduced way too late into the show, and none of their characters had any depth other than to just get suited up in mechs and wreak meaningless havoc as antagonists, driven by absolutely nothing. And I may get some backlash or hate for this, but Rollo, Cornelia, and Orange are infuriating characters whose only role in the second season is to carry the dead horse of this season 2, which was an absolute snooze fest for the first 12 episodes. Rollo was the only one of the three that I felt had any type of interesting development, and that's just because of Lelouch. Which brings me to my point. Lelouch is what makes this show. His character almost reminds me of shows like Attack on Titan, Death Note, and maybe even Classroom of the Elite, except there's no character that can match Lelouch with his strategic genius. There's just no L to his light. Sure, there are other characters like Suzaku, Colin, and maybe some others, but Suzaku isn't in direct opposition to Lelouch, and in many ways agrees with him on some ideologies. Both of them aspire for a change in the way things are run, only Suzaku wishes to change the hierarchy from the inside. Whereas Lelouch views the system as fallen and only curable through destruction and restructuring. As he's quoted saying, "To defeat evil, I shall become an even greater evil." One of my favorite parts of Lelouch's character is that he's fallible. Even though he's an incredible strategist, he still doesn't fully understand the structure of this world, or even the one he's trying to recreate from its ashes. He's forced to adapt at unknown complications and unforeseeable twists, especially at his mistaken killing of Euphemia and the transition from season 2. He still remains able to counter. Speaking of counters, as someone who's ashamedly very interested in chess, yes, I watched all of the Fisher Random chess tournament, and I am currently watching the Speed Chess Champion tournament right now. Anyways, overlooking all of the blunders that are clearly seen in the different transitions from scenes, like chess pieces literally disappear and then reappear on the board in different places without any clear moves being made. But still, the symbolism of chess in Code Geass remains top tier, with Lelouch playing chess early on saying, quote, "If the king doesn't move, then his subjects won't follow," which remains his mantra throughout all of Season 1 until he meets the Emperor in Season 2. where he realizes that in order to win, he must first take all the opponent's pieces. But this changes once again in his final game against Schneisel, in which he once again moves his king forward, missing or rather playing with Schneisel, even though the music, audience, and even Lelouch all seem convinced that Schneisel is winning for some reason, with Schneisel performing an illegal move, putting his king right next to Lelouch's. One, definitely not allowed in traditional chess because it puts Schneisel in check from Lelouch's king. 2, Lelouch elects to move back rather than take the king, sparking the most annoying turtling of an anime character ever conceived to try and kill Lelouch. Like, grow up. The girl you simped on died, and you only spoke like 3 times. It's not like your mom died or anything. But anyways, the greater meaning behind Lelouch's move is kind of astounding. Schneisel is essentially claiming that even though you've already had the opportunity and you have killed the emperor, i.e. the king, why haven't you won the game yet? But Lelouch, in moving back, maintains his stance that he claimed earlier, quoted saying, "I must spill yet more blood, so the blood already spilt will not be in vain." It's my opinion that this episode is the ultimate showcase of Lelouch's versatility and fallibility as a character, where he must once again change in order to achieve his goals. He sees that in the same way that Schneisel moves his king forward as a sacrifice, that he too must move himself forward as a sacrifice. Fitting with his quote, "The only ones who should kill are those who are prepared to be killed." So as this party that Lelouch is attending draws to a close, I believe he begins to reach his final form, revealing that even though he has sacrificed so much for Nunnally, the only way to fulfill his goals are to align with Suzaku, therefore fulfilling Suzaku's quote, "The best way to remove your lies is to make them come true." And it's great to finally see Lelouch and Suzaku's ideals no longer collide. And I would argue it sets the show up for one of the greatest endings of anime history, which I won't spoil, but it's pretty good. This show and Hunter x Hunter definitely forced me to reevaluate my top 10 of anime. Because as much as I thought that Season 1 was an absolute masterpiece, with only a few minor plot holes and one entirely filler episode of just chasing a cat, I don't know why in the world they put that in there. It's kind of aggravating to watch a show where you felt like there could have been better plot twists for Season 2. But overall, I would say this show still cements itself for what it is. And I'd even argue that Lelouch is one of the best MCs ever made. Anyway, if you've watched this far, I really appreciate it. I'd love to hear your opinions on the show, and don't forget to comment which show you'd like to see me do next. And to make it a little bit easier for you, comment a 1 for Silent Voice, a 2 for Tower of God, 3 for Ranking of Kings, 4 for Steins Gate, or a 5 for Erased. But don't pick that one. And make sure you don't forget to subscribe. And if you haven't seen any of my other reviews, they're really good, make sure you go and check those out. My name is Sam, and this has been Skilled Reviews. See you in the next one.